roll, folks. Member of the Police Complaint Board present.
Bobby Strang, member of Police Complaints Board, present.
Thank you. So if we can go ahead and do a round of introductions, why don't we start with you, Mike, and then we can move it to the staff and then others.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mike Tobin. I'm the Executive Director of Office of Police Complaints. There's a couple staff members also participating in the meeting. Mona, why don't you go next?
Mona Andrews. I'm the Chief Investigator here at the Office of Police Complaints.
All right, Alicia.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alicia Yass. I am the Deputy Executive Director.
All right, and Mark.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mark Cross, and I am Legal Counsel Special Assistant for the Office of Police Complaints.
Okay.
So why don't we have the members of the public go ahead and introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Jason Jeffress. I'm in the DC Auditor's Office.
I can call out names if people don't want to just speak up. Victoria Cruz.
Hi, I'm Victoria Cruz. I'm an occupational therapy student with Howard University, and I'm just logging in today to listen in and see how everything goes.
Hey, thank you. Welcome.
Sarah Chacon. I'm sorry if I don't say that correctly.
That's okay. Yeah, my name is Sarah. I'm also an occupational therapy student from Howard. I see a couple of my other classmates here. For one of our classes, we were required to sit in on a board meeting, on a public board meeting. So that's where maybe most of us are from. Yeah.
Michaela Chapman.
Hi, I'm Michaela Chapman. I'm also a Howard University occupational therapy student. So same reason that Victoria and Sarah said is why I'm here.
Welcome. Cassidy Blake.
Hi, I'm also going to hop on board with that group as well. I'm an OT student from Howard.
Welcome. Chisholm Azayani. Sorry again on pronunciation.
No, you're fine. You said it pretty close. This is Chisholm Azayani. I'm also a occupational therapy student from Howard University, and I'm excited to just learn about everything that goes on in this board meeting. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Ayana Martin.
Hi, I'm Ayana. I'm also from Howard.
Welcome. And Karsten.
Hello, this is Karsten Vissering. I'm a capstone student with George Washington University, and we're actually working with ODCA and working on some NERAC provisions related to OPC, so we decided to step on in. My sponsor is Jason Jufris here.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Well, welcome everyone. I'm so excited to have such a great group of students as part of the meeting today, and hopefully you can learn something. We usually start after this point with a public comment period, so this is an opportunity for them so open to remaining after the meeting if people are interested in having a conversation or questions after the meeting ends. So I'm just going to put that out there as well. So if there's any public comment. I'm going to take that as a no. So with that, we're going to move into the formal agenda. So the first order of business is to review and approve the Police Complaints Board meeting minutes from the January 20th board meeting. So if board members could review those meeting minutes.
I reviewed minutes prior to the meeting, so I'm ready to go ahead and move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second, I did the same.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
unanimous vote, so they are approved. I don't believe we have any old business on the agenda, Mike, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, so if it works for you, we can transition to the agency report.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. For the agency report, I do not have any items pertaining to occupational therapy tonight, unfortunately, for the Howard students. But we do have many other interesting things on our agenda. The first one is our operational status. We are fully operational, and we have been for several weeks now under the as most DC government agencies have switched over the past month to be fully operational in the office. Our fiscal year 23 budget is being formulated. You may have seen the news. The mayor presented the budget yesterday. The government agencies, including us, have not received our proposed 23 budgets yet. We are expecting to receive it tomorrow, so I don't really have any updates on that. Our informal conversations with the budget office over the past several months and past few days indicate that supposedly we will be receiving the budget that we requested and that we will need for operational purposes, but that remains to be seen until I see it in black and white tomorrow. I would just keep my fingers crossed, and we'll see where things end up as far as the budget process. And again, that's the first part of the budget process. What's the next steps in it is in about 2 weeks, our office and all the other DC government agencies will have hearings before the DC Council. And the DC Council will make amendments to the mayor's budget and vote on a final budget. And that's over the next couple of months. And our hearing is on April 30th. March 30th, right?
March 30th.
March 30th, yeah, in a couple of weeks. So we're getting ready for our budget hearing. And that's important news because the budget is going to be contingent on possibly some police reform measures, which brings me to the third critical issue that I want to update the board on. And that is that there are still 2 pending bills before the DC Council on police reform. One is the chairman of the council's bill, one is the other bill put forward by the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. Those bills are still out there. There's been no action on either one of them. No hearing set, but I do expect that at the budget hearing there will be conversations and questions about various proposals that are coming out there. So the timing might be very interesting as far as our 23 budget is versus any police reform issues that come out. I do anticipate, and I am very hopeful that we will have some police reform measures that come out, probably that will affect our jurisdiction in our operations. How significantly is anybody's guess right now, but even minor changes to our jurisdiction will probably require budgetary changes and staff changes. So we'll have to see how that all shakes out. We're just trying to remain flexible and adaptable to see what's going to happen. The worst case scenario is our budget would be approved by the council, and then in a couple of months, if our jurisdiction changes, we're going to have to ask for a change to that budget to either expanding the budget or whatever we can work out with the council. So that's where that stands. In other words, we have to wait and see again. And I expect to see something happening over the next couple of months with respect to the budget and with respect to some police reform legislation. The last critical issue I want to update you on, and it's not in a written report because it just was semi-finalized earlier today, and that is that late last year the council allocated $150,000 to us to conduct a study to determine whether the Metropolitan Police Department engaged in biased policing when they conducted threat assessments for assemblies particularly the January 6th U.S. Capitol demonstration and riot that occurred, and other demonstrations around that time frame. And they wanted a study to be conducted. The money was initially allocated to the Attorney General's office, then they switched it over to our office. Earlier this morning, we believe we finalized a contract, a sole source contract with the National Police Foundation to conduct that study, and they're going to be starting work on it very shortly. The deadline is to finish that this fiscal year, which means by September 30th. So we had to move rather quickly on it once the scope of work was finalized. And Alicia's been working on that with the DC contracting office for the last couple of weeks. So we're ready to move forward on that. The Policing Foundation is identifying its subject matter experts, and we'll be working with NPD and the foundation, which is now called what is it called now, Alicia? They just changed the name.
National Policing Institute. However, we've caught them in the middle of the name change, so their name on our documents might still be National Police Foundation, but they will henceforth be known as National Policing Institute, and I believe their website and other things like that reflect that change.
Yeah. The only reason I brought up the names was not to confuse you any more than you may be already about this, but in case you hear both names, they're interchangeable at this point. That's the NGO that's doing the study. They've been around 3+ decades, and they've been doing a really good job for us and other agencies in the past. And in fact, they've done other types of bias assessments for other police departments and cities in the country. So
it's nice and sunny. Believe it or not, I can't believe that 60 degrees.
Eliza Appleton, if you can please mute.
I'm just sitting here drinking a Diet Coke. Give me one of these little.
Eliza Appleton, can you please mute your line?
Little Debbie Zinger.
Okay, I think we got it fixed.
Which are not pretty good for you. It was not enough. They were on coffee or something. I don't know yet.
Eliza?
Anyways, I'm out. I found some lunch. And I would love to get Mr. stuff out today. A load of laundry going. And
Eliza Appleton.
I know, it sounds like a lot, but it's okay. I can handle it. Because I haven't picked up. It's noon and I haven't eaten today.
Maybe one of Eliza's friends could text her.
Okay.
Okay, it looks like she's on. I'll give it a try. Well, those were the main critical issues I wanted to update the board on. We recently published the 2020 implementation update that was published on February 14th, and we're working on the use of force annual report. Still finalizing, receiving some data from MPD on that, and making some final adjustments to how we did it last year. I think you'll be pretty pleased once we put the whole thing out on what our use of force report will show. For district government contacts, I think all the board members are aware of the letter that we sent to the chief last week regarding the litigation settlements based on a investigative report put out by the Washington Post. The chief did get back to me yesterday and then indicated that he's going to be responding to me in response to our request. I haven't received any official response from the chief yet regarding that, regarding the letter we sent to him or the Washington Post article regarding the litigation settlements, and regarding whether the chief and the police department are now going to accept and start following the policy report that this board put out almost 3 years ago regarding litigation, how to better make use of the litigation data. So more to come on that. If there's any updates on it, let the board know in a timely fashion. For staffing updates, we're in the process of interviewing for a vacant investigator position. applications are closed, but we'll be probably starting second round interviews probably next week. So we'll see how that goes. Any questions on that from the board? Anything on that? Okay, just wanted to check at this time. Then let's move into the board statistics. And Mona, could you give us an overview on that?
Now we've made it. It's time to read.
Yes. I think the board members got a chance to review them. Pretty comparable to last year. We're down a little slightly as of last week on new complaints, but that changes daily, and it's only less than 5%. So I think that's the only thing really noticeable. For contacts, as you remember from last year, we kind of changed how we report contacts. So I think that has more to do with why those numbers are down. So I don't know if anyone had any questions.
Okay, I don't see any questions at this time. Thank you very much, Mona. And Mr. Chair, that completes the board report.
Thanks, Mike. I believe we have some new business, some exciting performance plan stuff.
Yes, we do. That's item 6. Item 7 on the agenda. I just wanted to point out to the board, this is a short item. The report is actually only 2 pages long. Every DC government agency, every year, and it's published on the DC government website, does a performance report. And government agencies pick their own performance measures. We pick about 3 different measures, 3 to 5 different measures in different categories, and we report on those year after year, and it's published on the DC government website so that the public can see how we're doing as an agency, and every agency does it. So I just wanted to put that out in front of you because we just submitted our final version and will be published shortly along with all other DC government agencies of what our performance objectives are. And these are separate from our agency OPC performance objectives. These are just for the DC government purposes. And it lists the strategic objectives, our key performance indicators, KPIs, and additional different operational roles and what their statuses are and any key projects that we have going on. So I just wanted to call it to the board's attention that we do put that report out. There's no earth-shattering information in there. But if you ever wanted to check up just in a very general fashion about any DC government agency, you can do a search on the website, the government agency, or just a regular Google search, and these performance measures will pop up for any agency. And it goes back generally for, they have like a 3-year reporting period that's online, but we've been doing it for many years since I've been here. So it goes back at least almost a decade probably. So some of our key performance indicators you'll see, things, for instance, the % of investigations that we complete within 6 months. That's also one of our internal indicators that we look at for to evaluate our efficiency. And then when we periodically report on it, DC government puts a percentage measure of accountability. And we like to be at least 75%, and indeed we're pretty much 100% on all of our KPIs on accomplishing what we set out to do at the beginning of the reporting year, which for purposes of this report starts about midway in the middle of the fiscal year. Don't ask me why, but that's how it works. And it doesn't coincide with the calendar year, it doesn't coincide with the fiscal year, it just starts. It's going to be published probably in the next week or 2. Website. So that's why that was attached to the report, so the board is aware that there are different measures out there for every government agency, including us, if you ever wanted to look at that for us or for any other agency. And that's what I wanted to say about that. Any questions? Okay. That completes item number 7 under new business.
That concludes all of, unless there's anything else, that concludes all of the board's business for this particular meeting. If there is a motion to adjourn, take that.
I so move.
Off yourself. I don't know yet. So, anyways, I'm out my phone. And I would love. Dang.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And thank you all for attending. And like I said, I'm happy to stay back if anyone has any questions or would like to chat. I'm more than willing to stick around.
And happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
Can't forget that. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Ashton, stay on for a second. Sure. I was just going to tell you about Marissa. Well, actually, so I'm from the DC Auditor's Office, and we have been doing this project on the NEAR Act of 2016, looking at its implementation. And so it goes across a wide swath of agencies, things like the Violence Interrupter Program, Hospital-Based Violence Intervention Program, a lot of changes in NPD practices. But one piece of our work are the NEAR Act changes to OPC's statute and duties. So we have begun to look at that with the help of a student group, and we had an initial contact with Marissa Landice just to tell her what we were doing. But since I came here just to observe the meeting, I thought I would just reach out to you and mention that to you in case it hadn't bumped up, that we are doing this piece of work, which is not an audit of OPC per se, but it's really a look at how those statutory changes are working and their impacts. So we're interested in talking to Mr. Tobin and maybe you and some of the board members, but I just wanted to just kind of make the introduction of myself and what we're doing.
Great. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, and I look forward to sort of working with you on this. The NEAR Act was, some very important legislation that was passed in 2016. I think aspects of it took a little too long to, in my opinion.
Okay.
Become fully implemented. So, for full disclosure, I work in a criminal justice reform organization here in Washington.
Oh, yes.
I'm quite familiar with the NEAR Act and its implementation. So.
Oh, good. Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of introduce myself, and I can answer any questions about what we're doing, or put that to a later date. But just wanted to say hello.
And Jason, just to let you know, I'm Marissa's supervisor, so she's been filling me in on what you've been doing. And Paul and Mr. Tobin have agreed to do a meeting, so we'll work with Marissa to get that set up so that the students can ask their questions and help in the process in any way that we can.
Great. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. Thank you all for sticking around too. This is great.
Okay, yes.
If there is nothing else, we can officially. I see Mike ran away real quick.
Mike ran away. That's okay.
Well,
everyone have a very good night.
All right.
So, bye everybody.